son of a millionaire, discovered Bruises on a housekeeper. What he did next was incredible. Tyler Weston had it all: a sprawling mansion, expensive toys, and name-brand clothes that practically screamed wealth. But hidden behind the towering gates of his family's estate, an emptiness gnawed at him. Staring out, he watched the world of normalcy: the laughter of children playing, families gathering for dinners. He felt like a ghost, floating above, never quite connecting. His friends, more interested in who wore what and who was dating whom, hardly cared for anything deeper than status. But that day was different. As he sat in the kitchen, sliding to the edge of his ivory leather chair, he noticed Maria, the housekeeper who cooked up the family's lavish meals and polished the grand furniture until it glimmered. Her sleeves were rolled, revealing dark bruises, hidden pain visible only against her tanned skin. The sight jolted him like a lightning strike, pulling him from his bubble of privilege. It took his breath away. "Maria, what happened?" he stammered, his heart racing. "They don't matter, Tyler. Just some accidents," she replied, looking down, avoiding his gaze. But he wasn't fooled. Those bruises were not from the hard work he admired. They were a heartbreaking reflection of the violence that gripped her home. Tyler felt an ache settle deep in his chest. How could he live in such a bubble when life outside was fraught with real suffering? Days turned into weeks, and the holiday season filled the air with a false sense of cheer. His friends buzzed about parties and extravagant gifts, oblivious to the stark realities beyond their gated community. Frustrated and lonely, Tyler realized he couldn't just stand idly by, pretending that everything was fine. Should he intervene? Could he? Respect Maria's choices while watching as she suffered felt selfish and wrong. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Each day, he began to venture outside his mansion, exploring the realities that lay just beyond his privilege. He connected with community organizers and families struggling with the same pain Maria endured. He felt their passion, their resilience, their heartbreak. Through their stories, he found his voice, a voice he never knew he had. He leaned closer to Maria's life, her hopes and struggles unfolding like petals of a flower revealing its soul. One afternoon, he offered an idea: a community event to raise awareness about domestic abuse. The words poured out of him, fueled by anger and hope, but doubts quickly followed. His family and friends stood as barriers to this new path, resistant and unwilling to face a reality they deemed uncomfortable. The day of the event approached. Tyler stood trembling by the door, emotions swirling in his gut. Just as he took a deep breath to step into his new world, his phone buzzed. A new message flickered on the screen. "Tyler, I need to talk. It's not just about me." His heart sank. What more could he discover? What lay behind her words that could send ripples throughout all their lives? The darkness loomed ahead, and Tyler knew confrontation was inevitable. Would he step forward or fall back into the shadows? Tyler stared at his phone, the words "it's not just about me" echoing in his mind like an alarm. Panic flickered in his chest as he unlocked the screen and read the message again, hoping for clarity that didn't come. He breathed deeply, pacing near the door, battling the urge to run away from it all. What could Maria possibly mean? Her struggles were so raw and real. Could there be more to her story than he had glimpsed? He remembered the day he found the bruises, his heart breaking at the thought of someone like her living in fear. She had grown to trust him, but could he really dive deeper into her world without hurting her further? With trembling hands, he typed back, "I'm here. Can we talk? I'm worried about you." Moments felt like hours until the response finally came. "Meet me outside by the old oak tree. 5 p.m. As the clock ticked down, unease settled over him like a thick blanket. He arrived early, the leaf-strewn ground crunching beneath him, and leaned against the massive trunk of the oak. It was a spot he had often used to escape the pressures of his life. Now it felt different, charged with anticipation and fear. When he spotted Maria approaching, the sunlight caught her hair, making her appear almost angelic. But the shadows under her eyes told a different story. They were tired and haunted. Tyler, she began, her voice barely above a whisper as she kept her eyes on the ground. You shouldn't have looked. Why? Because I care? Tyler's voice softened, the words tumbling out with urgency. I can't pretend anymore, Maria. Your pain, it matters. You matter. Please, tell me what's really going on. She hesitated, biting her lip, a war of emotions battling behind her brown eyes. He took a step closer, his heart racing, aching to comfort her. I want to help. I can't just stand aside while you suffer. Let me in. With a shaky breath, she finally met his gaze. It's not just me, Tyler. It's my daughter too. She's in danger. His heart dropped. A daughter? A child caught in this storm? Danger? From who? Maria glanced over her shoulder, scanning the surroundings as if the world outside could suddenly catch her in a lie. Her father, he's unpredictable. He has hurt us both before. If he finds out I've said anything, her voice trailed off, laden with fear and unspoken truths. Anger surged through Tyler, hot and bright. You don't have to go back. There are places, people who can help. I can't just run, she insisted, her voice cracking. It's complicated. I can't leave him until I'm sure we're safe. I have no money, no support. I need to be careful. Every day you wait, you put her at risk, Tyler countered, feeling determination take root within him. Let me help you. I'll find a way. She shook her head. It's more than that. If you get involved, it'll endanger you too. You don't understand, but her words were swallowed up as the late afternoon light turned to twilight, shadows creeping in. The weight of their reality hung between them, thickening the air. What if we could help each other? You don't have to do this alone. A small spark of hope flickered in her eyes, but doubt still clouded her expression. Just then, a car pulled up, and both their hearts raced. Maria? A voice called from the vehicle, laced with menace and authority. She flinched, and Tyler's gut twisted with fear. We have to go now. But as Maria slowly turned, Tyler stood frozen, realization crashing over him. Her past was finally crashing into his present. He hadn't just taken a step into uncertainty. He had walked headfirst into a storm. Would they fight together, or would they be swept away? Tyler's heart raced like a wild stallion, each thud pushing the words back into his throat. He watched as Maria's face shifted from fear to resignation, the shadows dancing in her eyes. The car door swung open, and a man stepped out, his presence dark and foreboding. Maria, get in. The voice dripped with impatience, like a cold wind cutting through the warm evening air. Please, let us go, Tyler urged, fear gripping him tighter than any embrace. The urgency in his voice felt almost foreign, a plea born from a depth of feeling he hadn't recognized before. He reached for Maria's hand, but she hesitated, caught in a web between her past and the present. Tyler, I forget him. Tyler's voice cracked. Just come with me. We'll figure it out. We'll find somewhere safe. It was as if her body was locked in indecision, torn between the life she knew and the fragile sliver of hope he offered. The man advanced, his eyes narrowing, every inch of him projecting menace. Maria now? She took a step back, her expression filled with regret. I can't. A sudden voice from behind Tyler interrupted them. You have to leave her alone. The words hung like a lifeline. Tyler turned to find his friend Jake, who had been late to arrive but was now there, tension radiating from his frame. Who the hell are you? The man demanded, his sneer making Tyler's skin crawl. Somebody who cares what happens to her. Jake replied, standing firmly between the man and Maria. The atmosphere crackled like electricity, an unspoken challenge hanging in the air, but Maria's eyes, wide with panic, darted back and forth. This isn't your fight, she whispered to Tyler, and it broke him. It is now, Tyler insisted, frustration bubbling alongside his fear. I can't let him take you back. He felt a deepening connection in the rising tension, a fierce determination to protect her, to shield her child, even if it meant facing the unknown. The man's gaze flickered between the two of them, sizing them up. You think you can protect her? You're just kids. A flicker of a smile crossed Jake's lips. We might be kids, but we've got heart. And that counts for something. Heart won't save you from him, Maria said, holding back tears even now. She was worried for them. But Tyler couldn't back down. We can't let fear rule us. You deserve to be free, Maria. Your daughter deserves more than hiding. In that moment, the man turned his focus back to Maria, raising his voice dangerously. Enough of this charade. Get in the car. Now. Fear gripped Tyler, tightening around him. It felt as if the ground was shifting beneath them. No. If you lay a hand on her. But just as Tyler spoke, Maria stepped forward. I want to go back. Not now. Not ever. The man glared, anger flickering across his face like the approaching storm clouds. What did you say? I said no. Her voice was steady now, filled with a strength Tyler hadn't seen before. She stood tall, bathed in the last rays of sunlight, illuminating the resolve in her eyes. The man's face twisted into a cruel smirk. You think you can just walk away? You have no idea what's waiting for you. Tyler felt the weight of reality crash down again. They were standing at the edge of a precipice, and he could feel the pull of danger lurking just beyond their reach. As the confrontation held them in a frozen moment of possibility and fear, Tyler took a step closer to Maria. Together, he whispered, a promise echoing softly between them. In the silence that followed, the air buzzed with uncertainty. Would they stand firm against the storm, or would fear pull them apart? The answer lay just beyond the horizon if they dared to fight for it. The man lunged forward, fury lighting his eyes like a match striking wood. Without hesitation, Tyler stepped in front of Maria, the weight of his determination pushing him forward. You need to leave her alone. This is over. The man's sneer widened. Little boys shouldn't play grown-up games. He came closer, threatening and unyielding. Tyler could sense the panic rising in the pit of his stomach. Stay back, Jake shouted, thrusting his arm out protectively, but the man simply brushed him aside like a pesky fly, his eyes planted firmly on Maria. Get in the car, Maria. He barked again, his voice harsh, echoing the oppressive weight of the past looming over all of them. No, Tyler shouted back, his chest tightening as adrenaline surged through him. You don't get to decide that. Maria's eyes glistened as she stepped forward. This isn't your fight, Tyler, she insisted, her voice trembling but resolute. You shouldn't have to protect me. But Tyler's heart ached with an unshakable conviction. No one else will, so it has to be me. The man laughed mockingly, then pointed at Maria. You think you're worth this trouble? You think anyone's going to fight for you? Tears threatened to spill from Maria's eyes as she realized how deep this conflict ran. Tyler's jaw clenched, rage and desperation coursing through him. The world around them faded, leaving only the confrontation. I'm here, he said, meeting her gaze with an unyielding intensity. I'm here for you and your daughter. I won't let anyone harm you. Maria's expression softened, affection and fear mingling in her eyes. In that instant, a fragile bond formed, each of them anchoring the other. Tyler's heart swelled with hope, even in the shadow of darkness looming over them. But the man wasn't finished. Closing the distance between him and Tyler, he loomed intimidatingly. You think just because you're standing here, you're making a difference? One way or another, she will come with me. Tyler felt the heat of challenge ignite within him. Not while I'm breathing. With a sudden motion, he grabbed Maria's hand again, pulling her with him. She stumbled slightly but kept up, her strength growing from his resolve. They began to back away, navigating the gravel underfoot as if each step marked a new determination, driving them towards freedom. Cowards, the man yelled, but his voice was laced with something else, a flicker of doubt. The air thickened with tension as Tyler and Jake moved in sync, their backs against the fading light. They were rapidly approaching the edges of the parking lot and the looming shadow of the streetlights. Suddenly, a horn blared from the nearby road, a car speeding past, breaking the stillness. Maria glanced toward it, her eyes wide as a new thought ignited in her mind. What if? But the man's voice cut through her urgency. You can't run forever, Maria. I will find you. Not if I can help it, Tyler hissed, tightening his grasp on her hand, ready for anything. They reached the fringe of the parking lot, each heartbeat echoing in their ears. Purpose surged within them, their path becoming clearer as a glimmer of freedom danced on the horizon. They raced toward the fading light. Tyler stole a quick glance back. The man stood still, anger radiating from him, caught between disbelief and fury. Together, Maria whispered, mirroring his earlier vow, filling him with a strength he didn't know they had. Tyler nodded in agreement, a silent pact forged in that brief moment. But as they turned the corner and the darkness enveloped them, a question echoed in his mind. Would they be able to outrun the past, Or would it follow them like a shadow, whispering threats into the night? They raced down the narrow street, their feet pounding against the asphalt, each step pushing them further away from the confrontation. The fading glow of the parking lot behind them quickly surrendered to the deepening night. Tyler's heart thudded wildly in his chest, the adrenaline coursing through him like fire. Beside him, Maria's breaths were shallow, but determination sparked in her eyes. "Where do we go?" she asked, a note of fear creeping into her voice. "I don't know," Tyler admitted, stealing glances over his shoulder, half expecting the man to materialize from the darkness. "But anywhere that's not here." Jake, still close behind them, barked out an idea. "The diner. It's just a few blocks away. We can call for help there." "Diner?" Maria echoed, uncertainty coloring her tone. "What about no going back?" Tyler interrupted, shaking his head fiercely. "We keep moving. He is not going to let this go. We need to find safety." They turned onto a side street, the scent of fried food wafting from the direction of the diner. Tyler could barely make out the neon sign flickering in the distance, a promise of warmth and light. As they rounded another corner, the lights of the diner came into view, bright and welcoming against the oppressive night. "Almost there," Jake encouraged, quickening his pace. Then, that dark shadow appeared from the corner of his eye, the man, his silhouette menacing against the streetlight. Tyler's stomach dropped. It was too close. Panic flared within him, and he tightened his grip on Maria's hand. "Faster," Tyler urged, pulling her along as they sprinted towards the diner. The rhythmic crunch of gravel beneath their feet melded with the pounding of his heart, adrenaline pushing him further. Inside, the warm glow of the diner felt like sanctuary. The smell of coffee and fresh pastries wrapped around them like a comforting hug. Tyler shimmied through the entrance with Maria close behind, his breathing ragged but determined. "Stay here," he said, scanning the room. "I'll get help." Maria's eyes flickered with worry. "What if he finds us?" Tyler shook his head, squaring his shoulders. "He won tea. Just stay put, okay? I'll be right back." He dashed to the counter where an elderly waitress was pouring coffee for a couple seated at the booth. He leaned forward, voice urgent. "Call the cops. There's a man after us." The waitress's eyes widened. "What is happening?" "I can't explain right now, but we're in danger," he urged, running a hand through his hair. Time felt like it was slipping away. Just then, a bell jingled behind him. The front door swung open, and Tyler's heart sank as the man stepped inside, darkness etched into every feature. He made a beeline for the counter, eyes scanning the room. "Quick," Tyler muttered to the waitress. "Please." "Right away, hon." She grabbed the phone, dialing with shaky hands. "Maria?" he called out, his voice rising with urgency. He turned to the nearest booth, scanning frantically, but she was nowhere in sight. Panic gripped him. "Maria?" The man's gaze landed on him, then traveled towards the diner booth, and Tyler's blood ran cold. "Get away from her," Tyler shouted, rushing forward. But the man stormed past him, heading towards the back of the diner. Tyler felt the world around him blur. There was no time. He had to act. He barreled after the man, just as the full realization hit him. Maria was in danger, and he was about to face the darkness head dash on. As he reached the corner, he readied himself for whatever was coming. Would he be able to protect her? Tyler took a deep breath, inching closer. The moment of truth loomed heavy in the air, magnifying every heartbeat. Would he be strong enough? Tyler rounded the corner with a rush of adrenaline fueling his every move. The back of the diner loomed before him, an area dimly lit and full of shadows. He scanned the space, searching for Maria, his heart racing. With each hurried step, the realization hit him like a punch. He couldn't let the man reach her. She was counting on him. The sound of clanking dishes and hushed conversations faded into the background as Tyler focused on the situation at hand. He spotted the man, his figure silhouetted against the faint light from the exit sign. The tension in the air crackled, suffocating. Tyler felt the blood pounding in his ears, and time seemed to stretch. He was still a few yards away from Maria, who had found refuge near the storeroom door, but the man was moving quickly, dangerously. "Maria?" Tyler shouted again, desperation leaking into his voice. She turned, eyes wide with fear, and he could see the confusion and terror written all over her face. The man spun around at the sound of Tyler's voice, and his eyes glimmered with menace. "You're making this too easy," Kid, he sneered, a jagged grin slicing his otherwise featureless face. Tyler clenched his fists, his mind racing. He had to think fast. As the man took a step toward Maria, Tyler let instinct take over. "Hey, leave her alone," he yelled, charging forward and planting himself between Maria and the approaching threat. The man laughed, the sound cold and chilling. "You really think you can protect her? You're just a kid playing hero." But Tyler wasn't just a kid anymore. He could feel the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. "I'm not afraid of you." His voice trembled but held a defiant edge. In that moment, something shifted. The disbelief and fear that had been pressing down on Maria began to lift as she saw Tyler taking charge. A flicker of hope ignited in her eyes. The man's expression darkened. "You shouldn't have gotten in my way." Before Tyler could react, the man lunged, swinging a fist aimed straight at him. Tyler's instincts kicked in. He ducked to the side just in time, the punch grazing past him. Adrenaline surged through him, fueling his desire to fight back. Tyler tackled the man, shoving him off balance. They tumbled over a stack of empty chairs, creating a loud crash that echoed through the diner. "Help!" Maria screamed, her voice sharp with panic. He could hear footsteps approaching. The waitress had alerted others. He needed to hold the man off just for a few more seconds. The man struggled beneath him, but Tyler grasped his shirt, wresting for control. "Stay down," he shouted, pushing with all his strength. But the man was strong. With a growl, he flung Tyler off him, sending him sprawling across the floor. Gritting his teeth, Tyler scrambled back to his feet and charged again, fear transforming into ferocity. More voices chimed in as other patrons gathered, eyes wide and breaths held. He didn't want them to see him vulnerable. He had to protect Maria. That's what mattered most. In the chaos, a nearby patron intervened, a burly man who seized hold of the assailant's arm and twisted it behind his back. "Get away from those kids," he yelled. Relief washed over Tyler as the man was finally restrained. His heart raced, but he could breathe now. He turned to Maria, who stood wide-eyed, her fear still evident but now mixed with relief. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice softening as he approached her. "I think so," she stuttered, trembling slightly. Just then, police sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder. The weight of what had just occurred settled over Tyler. They were safe, at least for now, but there was still something nagging at the back of his mind. The man, the darkness he embodied, wouldn't just disappear. As the police flooded into the diner, Tyler squeezed Maria's hand. He could feel her pulse racing, mirroring his own anxiety. "We need to stick together," he whispered urgently. But what they didn't expect next would shatter their fragile sense of safety once more. The moment the police burst through the diner doors, chaos erupted. Officers shouted commands, their voices rising above the clamor of startled patrons. Tyler held on to Maria's hand tightly, feeling her clammy grip as a reminder of how close they had come to losing everything. They were pulled away from the immediate chaos, ushered toward a corner of the diner where the light was brighter and the air felt less heavy. "Stay here," an officer instructed, ensuring they were safe from any lingering threats. Tyler glanced back at the commotion, the arrested man struggling against the grasp of the burly patron who had saved him moments earlier. The fear still rustled within him. He could sense it simmering in Maria too. "Is he going to hurt us again?" Maria's voice trembled, her eyes searching Tyler's. In that instant, he saw the vulnerability in her expression, and it made his heart ache. "No," Tyler said firmly, not quite believing it himself. He won tea. But as the sirens faded in the distance and officers tended to the arrested man, Tyler realized they were far from ending this nightmare. He could still feel the darkness lurking. In a strange way, it felt like the shadows of the diner had seeped into his very bones. "Tyler," Maria's voice broke through his thoughts. When he turned, he saw her biting her lip, fighting back tears. "What if he comes back? What if we run into him again?" He opened his mouth to reassure her, but the answer wasn't as simple as he wished it were. Instead, he placed a hand on her shoulder. "We'll be careful. We'll tell the police everything. They'll make sure he can't get to us. We should stay away from here, shouldn't we?" she asked quietly, her eyes darting nervously at the officers as they interrogated the patrons for details. "Yeah, maybe we should," he admitted, a knot forming in his stomach. Their haven, the diner where they had always felt safe, now felt like a scene from a horror movie that as they waited for the officers to finish. An uneasy silence settled between them. Finally, they were ushered over to the officer who had been taking notes. A young woman with short hair and a stern expression began asking them questions about what had happened. "Can you describe the man?" she asked, pen poised above her notepad. Tyler swallowed hard. He was really aggressive. "He tried to hurt Maria," he said, gritting his teeth at the memory. "Did he say anything?" Tyler hesitated, realizing how truly little he knew about all this. "He just kept saying I was playing hero," and the officer nodded, taking notes furiously. "We'll get a team on this. You two just stay close to your homes for now. We'll be in touch." As they stepped outside, the sun was beginning to set, casting long shadows over the pavement. The world felt different now. Tyler could almost feel eyes lurking around every corner, each whisper of wind seeming to echo the man's threat. Maria began, her voice quiet. Do you think he'll really come back?" "I don't know," Tyler admitted. "But we can't let fear stop us from living. We'll face this together. You and me." Maria offered a small smile, and for a second, he saw the light return to her eyes. But deep inside, doubt crept back in. How would they face a man who seemed to thrive in their shadows? Just then, Tyler's phone buzzed in his pocket. He pulled it out and saw a text from his dad. "We need to talk. Meet me at the office." His heart sank. There was more at stake here than just Maria's safety. What could his father possibly know? And how would this new problem complicate everything? With urgency building, Tyler turned to Maria. "Let us go? We have to figure this out, together. We can't let fear win." But the question loomed, would they uncover the truth or step right into another danger? Tyler's mind was racing as they walked towards his father's office. Each step felt heavier, charged with uncertainty and unease. The sun hung low in the sky, painting the streets in hues of orange and purple. But the beauty around them failed to penetrate the knot tightening in his stomach. Maria walked closely beside him, her nerves palpable. "What do you think he wants to talk about?" she asked, shielding her eyes from the glaring sun, glancing up at Tyler, seeking some sort of reassurance. "I don't know," he admitted. "But it can't be good." The office building loomed ahead, its glass windows reflecting their anxious faces. Tyler pushed through the door, and the cool air inside contrasted sharply with the warmth outside. The familiar sounds of busy phones and muffled conversations soothed him slightly, but it was the sight of his father's face that sent a chill down his spine. Robert Thompson sat at his desk, a mixture of determination and concern etched into his features. Tyler had seen that look multiple times before, a sign that something troubling was on the horizon. He motioned for his son and Maria to sit. "What happened today?" Robert's voice was steady, but Tyler could sense the underlying worry. "We were at the diner," Tyler started, recounting the events briefly, every detail pressing heavily against his heart. He watched his father's expression shift from concern to anger, eyebrows knitting together. "I need to make some calls," Robert said, his gaze firm. "This isn't over. You two could be in danger." "Dad," Tyler began, but Maria squeezed his hand tightly. He felt her unease, the way it tangled with his own. "Let us focus on keeping you safe for now," Robert interrupted, seemingly reading Tyler's thoughts. "You should stay in a hotel tonight." "No, I don't want to run away," Tyler said, feeling a surge of defiance surging through him. "We can't let him control us. We have to face this." Robert leaned back in his chair, weighing his son's words. Maria looked between them, her brow furrowed. "What if he comes back?" "We can't just pretend nothing happened," she urged gently, a plea for understanding lingering in her tone. "You might not understand this, but people don't always play by the rules of the game," Robert replied, his voice low. "Sometimes running away is the best option. But I don't want to run. I want to stand up for ourselves," Tyler exclaimed, the knots of anger and fear finally bursting loose. "Facing things head-on is brave, Tyler. But it can also be reckless," Robert replied, his tone softening. "I need you to trust me just this once." For a moment, Tyler felt paralyzed, the weight of his father's words pressing down on him. He thought about the man in the diner, about the threat that loomed like a dark cloud over their heads. And if he has friends? People who look out for him? Maria interrupted softly. "What if he finds us?" When silence fell around them, Tyler felt a chill creep into his veins. The possibility of the man being out there, lurking, felt far too real. "Listen," Robert said, breaking the tension. I'll help you both, but we need a solid plan. No more running. Tyler nodded, feeling a rush of determination. Okay, what is the plan? As they tossed ideas back and forth, Tyler noticed a shadow lingering at the edge of his father's desk. It was a file, barely visible but clearly out of place. Curiosity prickled at him. Dad, what is that file? But before Robert could respond, a loud crash echoed from outside. The glass door swung open, and a figure rushed in, breathless and wild-eyed, calling out for Robert. Sir, you need to see this. Tyler's heart raced. Whatever was happening outside could change everything. What had they stumbled into now? The tension spiraled in the room, and Tyler turned to Maria, the realization hitting hard. This battle was only beginning, and they were right in the middle of it. Are you ready for what is next? He whispered to her, squeezing her hand. Her gaze was steady, defiance awakening within her as she nodded. Just then, the stranger's words pierced through the air, igniting a new wave of fear. Sir, the cops just found something at the diner suddenly. Tyler felt the world tilt on its axis, and he knew deep down that everything was about to change. What had they uncovered, and would they be strong enough to face whatever came next? The stranger's urgency electrified the room, a crack of thunder in a storm brewing outside. Tyler's heart thrummed against his chest, echoing the chaos unfolding in front of him. He exchanged a quick glance with Maria, and for the briefest moment, they shared the same fear. Where? What did they find? Robert's voice cut through the air, sharp and commanding. They didn't tell me much, the figure stammered, clearly still catching his breath. Just said it was something about evidence at the diner. They're asking for you. Now, Tyler's thoughts raced. Evidence? What evidence? He wanted to shake the man, to extract more information, but the room didn't bend to his will. The gravity of the situation pulled them all deeper, and the calm exterior Tyler sometimes wore cracked under the pressure. Let us go, Robert said, rising from his chair, the tension settling firmly into his posture. Maria, stay here. It's not safe. No. Maria shot back, her voice cutting, filled with an urgency of its own. If something is happening there, I need to be with you guys. I won't just sit here. Tyler's heart flickered at her courage. He admired her. She was strong, more than he often recognized, ready to face the storm, even if the winds howled fiercely. Yeah, we need everyone who can help us. Robert considered this, his face a canvas of conflicting emotions. He hesitated, then nodded curtly. Fine, but stick close. No wandering off. Got it. Got it. They both replied in unison. They rushed out of the office, the atmosphere thick with unspoken fears. The building felt cavernous, as if the walls themselves were closing in. Each footfall echoed with an urgency that jolted Tyler. He was racing towards something he didn't fully understand, yet knew could change everything. Outside, the sun was setting, turning the sky into a swirling mass of shadows. The drive to the diner felt agonizingly slow. Tyler felt the tension in his stomach clench tighter with every passing moment. What was waiting for them? He dared not voice his fears, but watched the world blur by outside the window. There were reminders of normalcy all around. A mother pushing a stroller, a couple laughing at a nearby cafe, the first twinkling stars making their debut. And yet, all he could think about was the man who had confronted them, the sinister undertones that colored the air between them. When they finally pulled into the diner's parking lot, the flashing lights of police cars painted everything red and blue. Officers were swarming the area, their voices rising and falling like waves colliding with the shore. Stay close, Robert warned again, and they moved as one toward the entrance. Inside, the atmosphere was thick with a mix of glazed disbelief, concern, and urgency. The familiar booths and countertops felt different, altered by fear's shadow. Tyler saw crime scene tape strung across the back of the diner, a sharp line separating the everyday from the dire. What happened in here? Maria whispered, her eyes scanning the dim interior. I don't know, Tyler admitted, dread coiling in his gut. He could smell the coffee lingering in the air, but all he could taste was the sourness of anxiety. They approached an officer, one whose face was stern yet weary. You're Robert Thompson? He asked, his voice low but clear, the weight of the situation hanging heavily. Yes. What is going on? Robert's tone was calm, but Tyler sensed the storm brewing beneath. The officer sighed. running a hand through his hair. "We found something that could tie back to the incident you reported. You might want to prepare yourself." A sinking feeling consumed Tyler. How deep did this go? What did they really uncover? Just then, a shrill voice cut through the silence, rising from the back room. "Where is he? Where's that monster?" Tyler froze. Panic flooded the air, thick and suffocating. "Who is that?" he asked, dread creeping into his voice. The officer exchanged a glance with Robert, the implication heavy in the air. "It's the waitress from earlier. She's been through a lot." Nothing could prepare Tyler for what came next. Expecting answers, he felt only the growing weight of unanswered questions, and the air crackled with impending revelation. There was a truth hidden within these walls, waiting for them to find it. Together, they hesitated, pulse racing as they faced the door into the unknown. What awaited them inside would challenge everything they thought they knew. Were they ready to uncover the darkest truths? With one last guarded breath, Tyler stepped forward, determination ablaze in his chest. As Tyler stepped through the door into the back room, the atmosphere shifted, heavy with unspoken fears. A figure sat huddled in the corner, the waitress from earlier, her hands trembling as they clutched a napkin, blotting tears from her eyes. The moment their eyes met, Tyler saw a reflection of the pain they had all endured, a connection forged through shared fears. "Is he gone?" she asked, her voice cracking, filled with a desperate urgency. "Did they catch him?" Tyler locked his gaze onto hers, steady and reassuring. "He is not going to hurt you anymore. We're here to help." Relief flickered in her eyes for just a moment, but uncertainty clouded her features again. "You don't understand, he has friends. They don't just let this go." Those words hung in the air, chilling Tyler's resolve. But he swallowed hard, the fear mingling with determination. "We will stand together. We won't let him take control anymore." Behind him, Robert and Maria moved closer, the strength of their presence forming a protective barrier. Maria stepped to Tyler's side, her resolve unwavering. "You're not alone in this. We will face whatever comes together." The waitress looked down, shame etching her features. "I've been so scared I didn't want anyone else to get hurt because of me." "No more hiding," Robert said firmly. "Today ends the fear." He pulled out a business card with a phone number on it, offering it to the waitress. "This is for the domestic abuse hotline. You can call them anytime for support." As she took the card, a glimmer of hope sparked in her eyes. "Thank you," she murmured, her voice growing steadier. "I think I really can do this." The officer who had spoken before returned, bringing a new charge of tension. "We need your statements. Together, we can take action. This isn't just your battle. It's ours." Tyler felt a wave of unity wash over him. This was a moment of transformation. Individuals becoming a community bound by shared purpose. The waitress nodded, her chin lifting defiantly. "Then let us get this done." One by one, they stepped forward to report their stories, their voices rising above the remnants of fear. They spoke of pain, wrongs that needed to be righted, and the courage to take a stand. Each word was both healing and empowering, and Tyler felt a part of something larger than himself, something that truly mattered. As they finished and the officers filed out, the atmosphere lightened. Outside night had fully descended, but there was warmth in the air, a new beginning emerging from the depths of struggle. Maria turned to Tyler, a radiant smile breaking through her previous fears. "We did it. Together. We've taken back a part of our lives." Tyler nodded, pride swelling in his chest. "And we'll keep fighting. For each other, for everyone who needs support." With the darkness of their past now out in the light, Tyler's heart felt lighter. They weren't just victims anymore, they were survivors. As they strolled out of the diner, each step was laced with newfound strength. "Ready for what's next?" he asked, looking at Maria and the waitress. "More than ready," Maria responded. "This time, we thrive." As they stepped into the night, the four of them walked side by side, the shadows receding behind them. They were no longer isolated individuals, but a fierce community united to face whatever challenges awaited, eyes fixed on a hopeful horizon. And right then, Tyler knew, they would not be defined by their pain but rather by their resilience, their courage blazing like a beacon in the encroaching darkness. Remember this moment. Stand strong and fight for what matters. Now, you need to subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Hit that like button now to help feed the algorithm, and comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this transformation. Your voice matters. And you must share this video with at least 5 friends who need to witness the power of hope and community. Don't wait, not even one more second. Your support means everything.